How you doing, everyone? Welcome back. We have reached part 10 of this series. It's a 10-part series where we're going through the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution of the United States, and we're going through ways in which these rights either have been or can be violated by this current regime. We have found how he has violated the First Amendment, ways that the Second and Third could be violated, violations of the Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments, how the Seventh could be violated. That's going to be a tough one, though. Well, actually it won't. Violations of the Eighth Amendment. The Ninth is going to be a tough one, right? But it can be done. But now we're at the 10th Amendment. 10th Amendment, right? Which is why this is part 10 of 10. What is the 10th Amendment? The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. So basically, if we didn't spell this out as a federal power, it belongs to the states or the people. So, if it is not specifically under federal domain, it's under state, local, even individual domain, right? So, let's take, for example, driver's licenses, right? Most of us have one. You know, I have a I have a driver's license issued by the state of Iowa, right? That is a right given to me, but, well, not given, but, a right afforded me by the state of Iowa. That's a power given to the state because it is not given to the federal government. Each state has their own licensing requirements, right? And it's not prohibited to the states to have these requirements. So it is reserved to the states. So how might this be violated by the current regime? Well, we all know about the push for voter ID, and in principle, I think everyone supports the idea of voter identification. I think where some people are not good at articulating the argument against, it's not even against voter identification, it is an argument against placing barriers to voting. But how is presenting an identification a barrier to voting? Well, because if you're only going to accept certain forms of identification, that, by the way, you need to get the required, and if you're not going to accept certain forms of identification that are required to actually get the only identification cards that you would need, that's how you get around it. I mean, it's not as simple as I show you my driver's license. I mean, it is, but it might not be, right? They want to make the names on your birth certificate and your driver's license match, which that rules out my wife from voting. It rules out pretty much the majority of married women. It rules out people who've been adopted. It's intended to target trans people, but make no mistake, it's also about targeting women. But I got off topic a little bit here. Let me get back to what I was saying here. The 10th Amendment. Basically, anything that is not delegated to the federal government goes to the states. Well, and that's delegated by the Constitution, right? So, as the Constitution was written and amended, if the federal government does not have that power, they don't have that power. The states do, but the federal government does not. So, how could that be used? How could that be violated? Easy. The federal government, under this regime, could take over all of the elections, for example, right? That's a state function currently. They could take over all of the elections. From the White House to the doghouse. White House, State House, Courthouse, Doghouse. Doesn't matter. And how could they do that? Again, going back to the voter ID thing, they can demand a certain federal ID card or a federal driver's license. Instead of just your ID card, usually a license with that little star on it. If it's not just that, it has to be issued by the United States rather than just the state of Iowa or Mississippi or Washington or whatever state you're from, right? So, it's something that I could actually foresee this regime trying to do, is taking over the powers that rightfully belong to the states. He's already suggested it in several ways. He has said he wants to be a dictator. He has acted like a dictator. Well, dictator's going to do dictator stuff, right? Just know your rights. Know all of your rights. Know what the Constitution says. Actually read it. It's actually a good read. Read it. Know what it means. Hold your elected officials to their oath to uphold that Constitution. Every word of it. Most of them don't even know what it means. Most of them have never read it. So, there it is. 10 amendments in 10 videos. And how they very well could be violated. And in several cases have been violated. And maybe some of them that I haven't seen the violations of have been violated, and I just don't know about them. And if that's the case, leave me a comment, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.